Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to my video. My name's Ryan and you are watching the 5th video of the RyanFit801 YouTube web series, where I'm going to try to just tell you everything that I understand to be true about the health and fitness world, so hopefully it can help you achieve your goals, whatever they may be. Today I'm going to be talking to you about what I believe to be the number one most important thing in your health and fitness journey, and that is diet. Now before we get going, let me remind you, I am not a doctor, I'm not your doctor, I don't know exactly what's going on in your life, so be sure that before you start or stop any fitness related or health related thing, that you speak to your personal physician about it and figure out if it's right for you. So, why is diet so important? Well, there are several reasons. So one of them is that, I don't know if you've ever talked to people or done your own research, but you hear all these little grains of truth about how to achieve your fitness goals by working out at certain times or certain ways, or eating at certain times in certain ways, and blah blah blah. Some of those are based on some scientific truth, other ones are kind of a little bit crazier, but they all seem to zoom in on that one thing and act like it is the only thing that will make a difference and that's the only way to achieve your goals, blah blah blah. That is typically not true. The only thing that is true is that there's this little simple equation that calories in minus calories out equals your total calories. If it's positive, you gained weight. If it's negative, then you lost weight. That is the only thing that is a universal truth when it comes to dieting and health and fitness. So remember, with that little formula, you can make that as long of a time frame as you want. You can be tracking throughout an entire year or your entire life. So what does that mean? That you are never too far away from starting to lose weight and starting to achieve your goals. Also, if you break your diet or you have a bad week or a bad month or whatever, remember, you can always start back up, and pretty soon you look at that mathematical equation for the entire year and you lost some weight, right? Keep going, you'll lose weight month after month, year after year, as long as you're in the negative on that equation. How you can influence that equation? The beginning of it, calories in. So obviously the more you eat in, let's just talk about a day. The more you eat in a day, the higher that number gets. The less you eat, the lower that number is. Calories out, the more active you are in the day, the more physical you are, the higher that number gets. And the more maybe you're sitting at your job or go home and sit, or you're just lying in bed or whatever, the more sedentary you are, typically, the lower that number is throughout the day. And at the end of that equation, the bigger, or if it's a positive number and the bigger the positive number, you gained weight, and the more weight you gained. If it's a negative number or a more negative number, you lost weight or lost more weight. And if it's about equal, then you're maintaining your weight. With that equation, you should never really try to lose more than about 500 calories in a day. If you start to go too hard in the negative, your body freaks out and it does not like that. Also, you won't only be losing fat. You'll probably start to lose muscle and even other vitamins and minerals and that kind of stuff. And losing muscle is bad. Muscle is the fat and calorie burning engine in your body. So you want to try to keep as much muscle as you can throughout your journey, and hopefully even try to gain muscle. Now, another reason that diet is so important is that your body is basically a machine. And when you put crap into it, like processed foods and fast foods and sodas and ice creams and desserts and all that stuff, you probably feel like crap. It starts to bog down your body. Even tons of diseases are based on a horrible diet. And if you eat nice and clean, you probably feel a lot better, your body's running a lot better, everything starts to fall in line, you have more energy to go to the gym, and then you sleep better, and then you have more energy to meal prep, and you have more energy to stay hydrated, all that stuff, and everything starts to fall in line. So when it comes to dieting, you should not try to think short term. Short term little diets can maybe be good for a second, only in certain situations, like maybe you're a bodybuilder and you have a show coming up and you just have to lean out for that exact thing, or maybe you have a vacation in a month and you want to look good and you just diet for a month. However, whenever you do those short-term diets that are not sustainable, typically, let's say you lost 10 pounds, as soon as you meet your goal or the deadline, or maybe you just break that diet, typically you snap and you gain 15 or 20 pounds back, and you actually end up even heavier than when you started. So typically do not do any of those short-term diets. What you want to do is pick out long-term sustainable diets that you can stick to. Now, there's tons of different diets out there, and they all have their own different rules. You should pick what fits in your life best. Like maybe you have certain allergies, maybe you have certain religious beliefs that won't let you eat certain thing, or maybe even just ethical beliefs that you won't eat certain things, or maybe you just think certain foods taste gross, or it could be a million things. So you want to try to stick to a diet that works best for you. Myself, I like to try to just eat more natural and try to stay away from processed foods and preservatives as much as I can. And I also try to eat about a 60% of my food comes from carbs, which is usually fruits and vegetables, 30% protein, and that's usually chicken, eggs, edamame, all that type of stuff, and then 10% fat. I'll put a little bit of oil in my food and whatnot to keep the fat content up, or peanut butter is delicious as well. And for myself, that's a very sustainable diet because I keep on top of it. I go do a lot of meal prep and really try to keep those foods ready. I also kind of incorporate a little bit of what's known as like flexible dieting, which is based on that mathematical formula I told you earlier, calories in minus calories out equals total calories, where they kind of say you can eat whatever you want in the day as long as you hit your ratios of your proteins, fat, and carbs to equal your ratios and equal the total number at the end. I slightly believe in that a little bit, only in the fact that if I know that I have a cheat day coming up, I try to balance out the best that I can, like earlier in the day, or make up for it later in the week and try to balance it out. Some other diets you may have heard are that I don't really follow all that much because I think they're a little too strict. Maybe like keto, Atkins. One that maybe can work is portion control, but I know for myself, I always snap and eat everything that I can possibly eat when I'm hungry, and portion control doesn't work when I'm trying to watch how many pizza slices I eat or whatever. Intermittent fasting, where you only eat during certain times of the day and you starve during certain other times of the day. And maybe even others I didn't even cover. Do some research, try to figure out which ones you like for yourself. And thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe because I'm going to be going into more depth and all that stuff and talking about a lot more other topics coming up. And send these videos to anyone that you think might like them. If anyone's going through any struggles and you think these could help, send them their way. All right, see you next time.